Welcome back to Basic Yoga with Frida Future. In today's video, we're going to dive deep into elbow to knee and bridge pose. So elbow to knee is an abdominal exercise. It often comes quite early in the Forrest yoga sequence, and it and other similar abdominal exercises are used to heat up the core and connect to core strength. It's foundational and strengthening for the rest of the practice to be built upon. And bridge pose exists as, often in the sequence, a counter pose to release the abdominals, open the chest, turn on the thighs, and release compression and tension in the low back. So those are the physical reasons for why we're starting with these two foundational poses. More emotionally, more personally, abdominals, they're really triggering for a lot of us, aren't they? Abs themselves, the whole abdominal stomach, solar plexus area holds a lot of emotion, holds a lot of the way that we feel about ourselves. Speaking personally, I know that I have traditionally had quite a bit of discomfort around what my belly looked like and what it felt like. I didn't like it to be touched. I never wanted it to be seen. I felt ashamed of my softness. And all of that led me to be disconnected from my core. And ultimately I ended up with low back and mid back pain because I was exporting all of the effort from what my core could be doing and making my back do it so that I wouldn't have to deal with the feelings that I had in my belly. So that's what's so special about the Forrest yoga practice, really. Anna Forrest says, whatever your fear is telling you to do the opposite. We don't want to be guided by our fear. We want to go in the opposite direction of what our fear is asking us to do. And so with that, we plunge into abs without fear, or with fear present and determination to proceed anyway. With a certain amount of pleasure for challenging ourselves and really growing in this strength and in this core connection. Let's get started. So we're going to start with basic elbow to knee. You can lie flat on your back with your feet hip distance apart and parallel. You can reach your palms down and graze your backs of your heels with your fingertips to gauge the distance. That may not be accessible to you. You may have your feet a little bit further away so that they don't reach the fingertips. Maybe that's the depth to which you can bend your knees, or how close you can bring your foot to your bum because of your thighs. In any event, that's totally fine as long as your knees are bent as deeply as you can and your butt and your feet are relatively close together. That's a perfectly fine setup for the beginning of elbow to knee. So, most important thing we can do during this pose is focus upon keeping your low back pressed into the ground. That's how we know that our core is engaged and the low ab muscles are working to support your movement. So we really want to keep, as much as we possibly can, the energy of the pose in the abdominals. So not in the neck and not in the upper back, but in the abdominals. So you're going to bring your hands behind your head, interlace them at the webbing, and take a deep breath in. When you exhale, curl your tailbone up. It's just a small motion. It's the difference between being here and there. So now that your tailbone is curled up, take a deep breath in, spreading the low back across the floor. And when you exhale, curl head and shoulders up and bring the elbows towards the left knee. At the bottom of the exhale, pull the low belly down. Inhale back to center. Hold the breath. Curl the tailbone up. Spread the low back across the floor. Exhale. Elbows over to right knee. Pull the low belly down at the bottom of the exhale. Inhale back to center. Hold the breath. Curl the tailbone up. Press the low back into the floor. Exhale. Lift the left knee. Curl elbows towards left knee. Pull the low belly down at the bottom of the exhale. Inhale back to center. Hold the breath. Curl the tailbone up. Exhale. Elbows come over to the right knee. Pull the low belly down at the bottom of the exhale. Inhale back to center. Hold the breath. Curl the tailbone up. Press the low back into the floor. Exhale. Elbows come over to left knee. Pull the low belly down. Be sure that the left hip stays on the floor when you curl your shoulders and elbows up. Inhale back to center. Hold the breath. Curl the tailbone up. Exhale. Elbows come over to right knee. Relax the neck. Relax the jaw. Pull the low belly down at the bottom of the exhale. Inhale back to center. Bring hands and feet down to the floor. That's basic elbow to knee. Let's try elbow to knee with the feet up off of the floor. Now, we've just done quite a bit of elbow to knee to get us started in the basic mode. This is going to be a little bit more challenging. We're only going to do a couple. Just want to show you where we're headed as we build up with this pose. So, knees are over the hips. Feet are lower than the height of the knees. And feet are active. On the inhale, hold the breath, curl the tailbone up. Exhale. Elbows come over to left knee, right leg extends. Keep the right hip on the floor. Pull the low belly down. Inhale back to center. Hold the breath. Curl the tailbone up. Elbows come over to the right knee. Exhale. Extend the left leg. Pull the low belly down. Keep the knees over the hips. Inhale back to center. Head and shoulders come down. Feet come down. So that's where we're headed with this pose. If you find that your neck is straining during that pose, a way to modify is to not lift the head and shoulders off the floor and allow the work to happen in your low abs using just the legs. So that would look like this. You'd inhale, press the low back into the floor, exhale, lift the legs up, keeping the knees over the hips. Don't let the knees come towards the face. Inhale, curl the tailbone up. Exhale, extend the right leg. Keep the left leg where it is. That does a lot. Pull the low belly down at the bottom of your exhale. Inhale back to center. Hold the breath, curl the tailbone up. You're activating your low abs when you curl the tailbone up. Exhale, bring the left leg out straight. Keep the right leg where it is. Pull the low belly down at the bottom of the exhale. Inhale back to center. Lower the hands and feet down to the floor, or the feet rather, because the head stayed on the floor. In general, through abs, no matter what pose we do as we proceed, if you're still building your ab strength, or if you're just having a day where you're struggling to connect how to release the neck, keep the head and shoulders on the floor and do the work with the legs and do the work with pulling your low abdomen in and contracting those muscles alone. So that's elbow to knee, an introduction, and we'll keep building that and myriad other abdominal exercises as we grow together. So let's do some bridge as a counter pose to elbow to knee. So bring your fingertips to your heels if that's accessible to you. Otherwise, just bend your knees as deeply as possible. Get the feet parallel and hip distance apart. Lift the toes to activate the feet. So we don't only want the feet active, we want the whole leg active. I want you to feel for activating the strength of your thighs and of your calf muscles when you push up into bridge. Take a deep breath in. And on your exhale, extend the low back. So it goes from looking like this to the same position that you were in elbow to knee, with the low back decompressed as you tuck the tailbone. And inhale into the chest. Relaxing the shoulders away from the ears, relaxing the neck. Exhale, press straight up and lift the hips up off the ground. Inhale, lift the chest towards the face. And exhale, press into your active feet, lifting the hips. You'll stay in the pose for 5 to 10 deep breaths, depending on your strength and your low back and how it feels in this pose. On every exhale, you want to focus on tucking the tailbone and lifting the hips higher. The tuck is super important to take the compression out of your low back. When you're pressing up with your feet, you want to feel the inner leg line and the outer leg line turn on. So you're not just hanging out with your toes gripping, you're really pushing with your strong legs to lift the hips. Tucking may feel kind of like pulling forward a little bit sometimes as you gauge, where are my hips and how do I engage my legs? So don't worry if you're kind of wobbling a little bit back and forth as you work your way up into this pose. So with the inner leg lines and the outer leg lines turned on and my strong legs pushing my hips up, I start to feel my thighs, the tops of my thighs really cooking. That's good. Stay with that. That's your strength activating and building. There's nothing to be afraid of if your thighs are cooking and you start to feel a little quaky. The only thing that we want to avoid really in this pose is tension in the neck, so release the neck. Tension in the shoulders, relax the shoulders. And compression in the low back. And the way we deal with that is by tucking the tailbone, lifting the chest on the inhale, and pulling with the thighs away from the hips. To come out of the pose, tuck the tailbone strongly, and on the exhale, lower your upper back, your mid back, and your low back to the floor. To sit up, roll over to one side, and slowly, using the strength of your arms rather than tension in your neck, press yourself up to a seated position, leaving the neck relaxed. And when you're seated, use your whole hand to lift your head up. It's an amazing way to really nourish and protect your neck. Wow, that feels really good. I feel like I worked in my glutes and in my thighs. My low back feels pretty comfortable. And my abs are on fire a little bit, even though we only did a few reps of elbow to knee. So, thank you so much for joining me today. And I look forward to building our practice together in the future. Over and out.